Again, good morning. This is Rabbi Shlomo First here to see the Tsama Nafshi here in Yerushalyim, HaKodesh. Located in the Beit Knesset of Yeshiva on HaKodesh, Zikr Yaakov number 6. We're learning the second shir now, Mishna Berura, in Siman Pei Tes Siv Gimel. Doing a review, and we'll start reading the Mechaber. See the Mishna Berura here. Yeah, we like to keep it.
Asur lo, it's forbidden to him, l'hit sake, it's rachav, o leilech, l'derech, ad she'yit palel, tefilas, shmona esrei. So it's forbidden to him to heat sake. I don't know what that is.
Become involved.
Involved, mitzrachav, with, I don't know,
with his needs.
His needs. Oh, tzarich. Or to go on the road until that he prays the prayer of Shmona Esrei.
Okay.
So presumably this is talking about Shachris.
Correct. However, it is applied with Mikra and Ma'ariv as well, to a certain extent.
Okay, so in other words, if you're already on the road, you got in Shachris, you went on the road, now it gets to be the time for Mincha, you have to stop and...
So well, you're asking a question if you're already in the middle of a journey.
Right.
So that's something else. Once you've started a journey, whether you have to stop to daven mincha, meaning can you continue on whether or not you until you've davened or not. So that's a separate shaila. In general, probably not. Once you started in what we call the heter, you started with the permissibility. Now you can continue on as long as you're not going to miss the zman. Right? You're not going to miss the zman. But here we're talking, like, say, for example, classic example is in the morning to start off on a journey without having daven first. It's actually, according to the Machaber, it's forbidden. Could also be, let's say, in the evening also. Let's say a person has a chasana in Bnei Brak, right? So let's see, he wants to leave at, let's see, now Shki is now 7:20. And so he wants to. So if he leaves at say 6:30, 7 o'clock before the Zman Ma'ariv, so it's okay because it's not Zman Ma'ariv. But let's say at 7:30 he wants to leave, right? So l'katchila you should daven Ma'ariv before he leaves. Yeah, but so there are going to be nuances in the halacha. For example, let's say he's going to be able to daven when he gets to Bnei Brak, right? There'll be a minyan there at the chassan. There'll be a shtibel he can go to in the meaning place that he can find many minyanim when he gets to Bnei Brak. So that's permutations and variations of the basic halakha, which you have to decide. But in general, there are some that learn the halakha here in its simplicity, meaning the actual going out onto the derech without having daven is forbidden. You should really read Chachila daven before you set out onto the journey. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Let's see.
Then we have the remark, Yesh Mikili.
Yesh Mikilim La'achar She'amru Mitzas Brachos Kodem She'amru Baruch Shamar. So there is, what's Mekilim?
There are those who are lenient.
Or lenient, that after that he said a little bit of the brachas, before he said Baruch Shamar.
Those brachas that are said before Baruch Shamar, in basic
right.
So there are some who are lenient if a person had said some of those brachas that are usually said before Baruch Shamar.
Okay, those are like the brachas of the Torah.
That's also concluded, yeah, that's also concluded, yeah.
Okay. V'tov l'hit l'hachmir, and it's good to be strict b'zeh in this.
Meaning machmir, well, that really needs a little bit of explanation. What is it? Machmir to say at least some brachas, or machmir not to go out until you've actually davened Shmona Esrei?
Oh, we're not sure. I assumed that it meant you have a leniency here that you can say brachas and then go on the road, but it's good not to do that.
That's process. Yeah, that's the basic understanding. Right? Even though there are those that are mikil, lenient in saying a few brachas and then setting out on a journey. Ideally, you shouldn't do that. Ideally, you should not set out on a journey until you've actually davened Shmona Esrei.
I'm a little surprised that it says ktsat, because I mean those basic brachas. My understanding is if you don't say those basic brachas, you can't learn Torah, and so you're taking a chance. I mean, even if you might accidentally learn some Torah, you might talk to somebody or whatever, and something might come up. So my understanding is you pretty much have to say those before you do anything.
Right. Yeah.
But this seems to say no, you don't have to say all of them. You can just say part of them. I don't get what part of them means anyway.
Right. Well, it didn't say which ones. I mean, in general, look, you see, they're all. It's if you're going to be. Let's take a classical example. Bisman is let's say a guy's got. Let's say now, Nate's is, let's say, call it 6 o'clock in the morning. Okay, so that means all the shishachir, meaning that 72 minutes is basically about 10 to 5.
Right.
10 to 5. Let's say the guy has an 8 o'clock flight from the airport.
Right.
So that means he's got to be there 3 hours early. Generally, they say you should be there 3 hours early. Well, kind of close to 2 hours early. So if it's 8 o'clock, he's going to try and get to the airport at 6. Okay?
He's got to leave at 5.
He's got to leave at 5. So he's setting out. So now, it really hasn't come to be time of davening yet. Davening time doesn't begin until the Nates is the earliest you can daven. So you're not getting Zman, Talis and Tefillin. The earliest Zman, Talis and Tefillin will be, say, pretty close to 5 o'clock. Pretty close to 5 o'clock. Right.
You could say the brachas.
So brachas you could say in general. Most all the brachas you could say at that point. So at that point it becomes b'di'evid, it becomes permissible that he could set out on a journey. Right. But the question is now, what's going to happen to him now when he gets to the airport? Right. So if he gets through baggage and customs, right, and he can get to the Beit Knesset at the airport, say at 7 o'clock, and let's say boarding's at 7:30, right? So he might have a 7 o'clock window, right, to daven the little shoes they have. Part of the daven. We're talking about Shmona Esrei. Right. So the question is, first of all, should a person try and avoid getting such a flight, right? Get something like 4 in the afternoon, right? That's going to you can either daven 1 o'clock here in the afternoon and stuff, or if you get through the customs and baggage, you'll get a 6 o'clock minute at the airport. Either way. Only problem is, depending where you're going and what you're doing, right, what's going to be with your Mincha and Ma'ariv later on down the road. Right? You may you may wind up getting into JFK at 2 in the morning, which means you're not going to daven and get a minyan on the plane, maybe yes, maybe no. So you have all that, and this is going to cost you more to daven to leave at 4 o'clock. You're obligated to spend another $50, $200 on a flight that's going to save you, right, from, and let's say it's a day that you have Kriyas Torah also. You're not just going to miss minyan, but you're going to miss Kriyas Torah, right? So, there are a lot of different factors to take into consideration what you're supposed to do. So ideally, you're not supposed to set out on a journey until you've davened Shmona Esrei. So that's your main obligation. Right now, didn't mention about davening b'tzibur, but in general, you always try and daven b'tzibur. You always try and get yourself a minyan. Right. So it's not always easy to know what to do. Sometimes you should daven. It might be more beneficial to daven. That's a question. The daven b'yechidus, should we daven at home? Let's say now your flight is at 9:30 instead of 8 o'clock, right? So in theory, you could daven at 6 o'clock at home, or maybe daven at 6 o'clock with the Nate's New Year. I had that one happen once with me. I forgot when this flight was. I think it was maybe 10:30, 11 or something like that. So I had davened 8, and I had about 20 minutes to come home and just do my last packing, and had the car come to pick me up around 7 o'clock, something like that.
Right.
So that was, I was all put the shed finished and done with. Whereas if you leave without having davened, so you got so many things, and don't forget, we're talking about a time when it meant going out on a derech. You're on a horse, you're on a wagon, right? You're going to a place where maybe by yourself, maybe you're traveling with the group, right? The group is not going to stop when it comes time for davening. No one's going to stop for 25 minutes, half an hour,
Right.
and start davening.
Right.
You weren't davening on the horse, on the wagon, something like that. So therefore, ideally, it's usher to begin to do anything that is relevant to your needs, or to set out on a journey before you pray. So that's your main priority. So then, knowing that's your main priority, you have to try and fit everything into doing that properly. When you're planning a trip, right? How can you plan a trip that you'll be able to do that? When I was last in America, so we had to travel. We were traveling from Atlanta to Nashville. So we planned it that there was a minion that was davening. I think they davened by 7 o'clock. So we planned to daven at the minion and leave right afterwards. We're driving cars, so it's easier when you're in a car, because you don't have to be at certain times in certain places. You're not restricted. So you're planning a trip with a vehicle, your own vehicle specifically, so you can plan it out a lot better. You can pick your times to leave or not. But sometimes you're at the mercy of the airline schedules or the transportation to the airport or things like this. So
I had a problem with this when I went skiing. We were in Switzerland, and we were a good distance from the airport, like 3-hour train ride. And we had to actually leave. It was still dark. It was in the morning. It was like, I don't remember exactly what time, but I remember it was dark outside when we left.
yeah.
So, and obviously there's no minion. So I had to daven on the train.
Yeah.
But I guess that's,
Yeah, look at
that was the earliest I could do it.
Yeah, look, when the train leaves at 4:50 in the morning, that's when it's leaving. It's like
So what go on during a situation like this?
excuse me?
What do you do in fancy things?
Well, first of all, you try not to plan it that way. If you can't plan it that way, if that's the only flight you can make, so then you have to try and you have to realize what the options are. When to leave. Sometimes if let's say the flight is like at 8 o'clock, right? So it might. If you leave early, let's say again in our scenario, let's say 10 to 5 is almost a shaka, which is still before the time of prayer. So if you leave to go to the airport, well, it's still almost before almost a shaka or almost a shaka. So you've left in a time when it's permissible, right? And so therefore, and not only that, if you get there extra early, right, you can be there like the first ones online, get through hopefully the baggage check and the seat, the customs, and you can get behind there to the daven there.
Right.
Yeah, or sometimes they also here they have a shul. They usually have a shul on the outside and a shul on the inside. Usually everyone, because some people are not able to get inside, so they have a shul on the. Here it's okay, but when you go to foreign countries and they'll have a public place to daven, but it could be multi-denominational and all kinds of things like that.
Right.
And you may not have a meaning there, but at least it might be a quiet, sneistic place to daven. If you have to be davening in the ears, it's better than davening in the phone booth. They don't make too many money, but for the most part.
In my case, I was hemmed in on both sides.
What do you mean?
Because I needed so much time.
Mm.
There was only one flight that we could get that was going to work, and that was like at noon or something like that. It wasn't an early flight,
Right.
but we needed we needed like 6 hours to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And if we had to take the earliest train,
Mhm.
we couldn't like get there. Like you were saying, if you can get there even extra early, then you have plenty of time to dock.
Right.
We couldn't do that either. We had to take this train because it was the first one.
Sure. You have to be creative. Like I remember once, this was many years ago. Okay, I flew into JFK, and then we were going from JFK to Fort Lauderdale. So we had, I think the flight came in like 6 o'clock in the morning, JFK, and the next flight we were taking to Fort Lauderdale was like 11 o'clock. So I got myself and the family into a cab, and got to take the cab took us to Far Rockaway, to the shul in Far Rockaway. So I got in Shakish in Far Rockaway. We stayed there basically a few minutes. I don't know, I think I had maybe tried to go out for breakfast or something like that, and then went back to JFK and got the 11 o'clock flight. So sometimes you can do that.
Right.
We used to go like if Teal or Cats, we used to get 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So we used to get there at 5.
And then you daven.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Right. So sometimes it'll pay to if you wanted to do something healer, it pays to get up early, leave earlier, and then because once it comes time to the time of prayer, so then literally you should be davening first. But again, like it's not always possible. Ma'ariv is also, let's say you have an 11 o'clock flight, right? So you should even though you might get and you most likely will get a meeting at the airport, still with the feel you should dive here for a lot of different reasons. One, if you're diving in your familiar surroundings, you'll have more kavanah. When you're diving in your regular meeting, let's say you get a 7 o'clock meeting in your regular shul, usually diving in, right? So you're familiar with the way things work, and people are people are not so rushed. People in the airport, like it's people are obviously going here and there, to and from, and they're less. But Hashem, in the airport you can get nice minyanim also. But it's always an advantage to. That's what there's a halach, separate halach. Person should have a makom kavua, a set place in prayer, in the same shul. Doesn't have to mean doesn't mean that he wants to daven in the same shul all the time. But when he davens in a particular place, he should have his own place that he likes. I mean, again, if he's not there regularly, so the question is if other people daven there, because he can't push somebody away. They're there already. But if both of them being equal, try and pick a place you're familiar. Like let's say go to the Kosa. When you go to the Kosa, you should have a place that you like to daven at the Kosa.
Same stuff.
Yes, because you're familiar with the way things work in that area, that little dalit amas of that makom, different places in the coast, things that different things are happening at different times. Birds are flying on the outside. Yeah. Just the conscious. What did the Rambam say? Go ahead.
This is a Sefer Ahava, Helpful Tefillah, Perek Sheish, Halacha Dalet.
Right.
It says, Asur lo la'adam she'yita'um klum, o she'yaseh malacha be'achar sha'alamu ha'shachar, ad she'yitpalel tefilat shachrit. V'kein lo yashkim liftach la'chavaro, he can't see his friend, l'sha'ol b'shalamot, see how he's doing, kodem she'yitpalel tefilat shachrit.
You can't say how you're doing?
You can't visit you can't make a house call.
Because they're saying this is a halach also. It says in Sif base over here. You say you look in Sif base in the Chaber, or page previous. Kevan she'agia zman tefillah. Kevan she'agia zman tefillah. Since, once it reaches the time of tefillah, also let him lahaykim the Pesach haverli tilo shalom. It's also forbidden for a person to go previous to his davening to the house of his friend to inquire of his shalom, to say shalom to him. You shouldn't do shmot Kodesh Baruch Hu shalom, because the name of Kodesh Baruch Hu is shalom, right? Shouldn't be using that word of shalom before you daven to greet a person with that word of shalom. You should have a good morning. There are more and more specific halachas involved there as well. Okay? But that's also the same idea, that you're involving yourself with things which have to do with you and other people, and not setting the highest priority of the morning to be diving into the first point.
Plus become concerned that you'll forget about the restrictions, and like bring a coffee and cake, and you know, and then they'll miss lunch.
There are a lot of reasons why it's not it's forbidden to do this, right?
It's interesting that what you just read, it says chakras.
Yeah.
We had mentioned, we had asked before, I had asked, is this talking about chakras?
Right.
It hadn't been specific,
Yeah.
but this seems to.
No, but it makes a lot of, it's the same lot that goes to Aval, to Umbu, Stemalacha, Kodem Musaf, and Kodem Mincha, Aval Eno, Suyuch Mincha. So you can't have a meal, right?
Can't have a full-fledged meal before midnight.
For the end of Zman, the end time.
Right.
But my question was along these lines. It had to do with the fact that Lashon in Mishna in the Mechaber is really a sig b'tzrachav.
Right.
And in Rambam we see that it's asur to sheyaseh melacha, and so it seems like tzrachav is even more expansive than just melacha.
Mm-hmm.
And just like melacha,
Right.
which seems to be a more narrowly defined.
Right. I mean, it's certainly more asik b'tzarcha. I mean, any personal needs. I mean, that could be in even the smallest type of.
But it's not talking about things like going to the bathroom. You have to.
No, that anything you need to do to prepare yourself for prayer. That's brushing your teeth. Making yourself, washing your face, even taking a shower. That's another sort of
So if you could ask, what is it talking about then, besides melacha?
Oh,
So the personal needs you're allowed to do.
Right.
So what else is there besides melacha?
You have here. Look at Zuyud Zayin of the Mishna Berura, this asik. You shouldn't, this asik, that's a continuum. Asik with tzorcha. You should not be involved with your needs. Take a look at the Mishna Berura here. Koydamor, you have it there in Zuyud Zayin? Yeah, we'll stop it in a minute, but go ahead, read this just to
I
get
don't have it.
Zuyud Zayin, Yud Zayin, Yud Ches, Zuyud Zayin should be
Yud Zayin here?
Yeah.
The big one?
That's-
Okay.
Bekodem or haboker sharela asot melacha.
So you see the word malachi here, meaning Kodam or Abokim, before all this shacher, it's mutter to do work. Malachi.
So what is shari mean?
It's permissible, right?
Okay.
Right.
Bekodem or haboker sharela asot melacha. So this would be in contradiction to the Rambam, it would seem.
No,
because it says before.
Yeah,
before
right.
right,
See, that's
okay.
the Rambam himself said this, yeah.
Because Zman has not started yet.
Right.
Okay, it says as long as you be able to heter, that's okay.
Correct.
The Katav Ilya Rabbah, and it's written in this sefer, the Ilya Rabbah, Demikol Makom Ein La'asot Shum Inyan Ad Sheyivarech Seder HaBrachot, that in all cases, it's not really permitted to do anything until you bless. I guess Berkot Shachar. I guess.
Right. I mean, you have to say some brachas, right? The Seder brachas. That's Berkot Yotzer and then Berkot Torah and Berkot Shachar. So now you see Shum Inyan, meaning we have three expressions being used here. The Mechaber is using Osip B'tzarcha, his needs. The Mishna Berura just mentioned Osip Malacha, we're doing work, and Shum Inyan, anything, right? Lasos Shum Inyan, to do anything. right? So you have these, now whether they're all referring to the same thing or not, we could discuss that. But in general, again, the main rule is anything that you need for your own personal bodily needs, especially, right, getting dressed, washing your face, brushing your teeth, all these kind of things. All these things are obviously permissible. Those are things which are needed for prayer. In general, also anything else which is needed for prayer. Like let's say it's a frosty eastern winter day. So you want to take the ice off your windshield, right? So obviously you got to get into your car, right? You can't drive with ice on your windshield, so you got to take out the ice scraper and scrape the ice. That's obviously something which is needed for the getting you to the shore, right? Let's say you have to get gas. Let's say you only have gas for a 2-mile ride, and you got to go 5 miles, so you got to get gas. And that can't, so that means going to the gas station, pumping gas, or getting the guy to do it for you, right? So that's obviously part of your needs for time. Should you have maybe better off gotten the car gassed up before the night before? Most likely, yes, right? But if you didn't, let's say it was closed, or was a big line, or you had to get somewhere else. So again, it's something which is needed for the prayers, so to get you to shul. So, yeah.
This is slightly off topic.
Mm.
Washing your hands. Do you have to wash your hands before you go to the bathroom? Or can you go to the bathroom, get up, I wake up, I have to go to the bathroom back.
Yeah, right.
So I want to run right into the bathroom, go to the bathroom, and then go wash my hands.
Right.
And my wife said she had learned that you have to wash your hands first.
Yeah, but you should wash your hands first. Except, however, if you like, just can't hold it back, that's something else. But if you can just take that extra 30 seconds to wash your hands, you really should be washing your hands.
Why is that?
You're not supposed to touch any of your organs, open organs, without washing your hands first of all. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's what she said.
Right.
Interesting.
Okay, so if you have if you're not forced to do it immediately, take the 30
And then
seconds.
of course you have to go wash your hands after.
Yeah, that's another story. You wash your hands. Now your hands are okay. Now that you can take care of your physical needs, you get yourself dressed, cleaned up, washed up, and you're ready to get going. Then you wash your hands a second time, and then you start all your
Well,
brachas.
actually, a third time.
Could be a third
Right, you
time.
go wash your hands,
Yeah.
go to the bathroom, wash your hands, get dressed, and then wash your hands before you go to.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, we'll have to stop here next year.
What's he saying? Like,